Snow that's settling on the chimney tops, winds that blow a gentle moan, the most magical of Christmases I've known. Such a perfect way to end the year, placing gifts around the tree, children playing games, a guessing what they'll be. The bells are ringing, choirs are a-singing, hailing it's Christmas Day. Hang a bough of holly, listen to the brass band play. Under mistletoe you'll fall in love, and you'll realize it's true. The most magical of Christmases to you. Mistletoe, you'll fall in love, and you'll realize it's true. The most magical of Christmas.
All right. Ready? Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Thousand Oaks City Council meeting for Tuesday, December 11th, 2018. If you'd all please stand. Well, first let's do the roll call. No, we're gonna do Pledge of Allegiance. I'm a little flustered. It's my first meeting. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Rodriguez, good evening. Could you call the roll for tonight's meeting, please?
Councilmember Bill De La Pena.
Present.
Councilmember Price.
Here.
Councilmember Adam.
Here.
Councilmember McCoy.
Present.
Mayor Fox.
And I am here. Item 4 is some introductions, and we have a number, so I'm glad everybody's nice and comfortable in these theater seats. First, as I introduce your name, please stand, and then we'll recognize everybody at the end. I want to recognize former mayors. So we'll start with Ed Jones. Chuck Cohen. These folks have been a team for a long time, so I'm going to introduce them at the same time. Larry and Betty Horner.
Representing elected officials and dignitaries from other areas in government, Marcy Davis representing the 26th District from Congresswoman Julia Brownlee. Our 44th District Assemblywoman and our very own Jackie Irwin. Again, one of our very own, Linda Parks, Ventura County Supervisor. Mayor Pro Tem from Westlake Village, Ned Davis. He's now the mayor. Chuck Huffer, Chair of the Conejo Recreation and Park District. George Lang, Vice Chair, Conejo Recreation and Park District. Doug Nichols, Board Member, Park District. And two people that have had a tremendous impact on me through my 24 years here. My very first city clerk, Nancy Dillon. Nancy's our city clerk emeritus. And my first city manager, retired city manager Grant Brimhall, city manager emeritus. I also understand former mayor and council member Bob Wilson is here. Bob, there he is right there. Planning commissioners, Andrew Pletcher, Sharon McMahon, Don Lanson. Let's give our planning commissioners some acknowledgement. Also in attendance, the president and CEO for the Greater Conejo Valley Chamber of Commerce, and you'll hear more about her later, Jill Letter. President of Thousand Oaks Boulevard Association, Sean Maradion. Leanne Nielsen, Chair of the Thousand Oaks Alliance for the Arts. And I also have been informed that the oldest living mayor is here with us tonight, Dick Hoos. I also want to acknowledge any additional members of city boards and commissions, committees, city volunteers, anybody that's done such a great job at making our city what it is. If all of you would please stand, and we just acknowledge you for your efforts. So we now move to special presentations. All right. For some reason, I wasn't allowed to read the agenda tonight. I have a feeling maybe something will happen later. So as I'm reading through these things, if it looks like I'm looking at it for the first time, it's because it is. So, all right. In 1984, the Thousand Oaks City Council initiated the annual city seat dedication program to recognize citizens who have demonstrated outstanding service to the community. This evening, the City Council is pleased to honor this City Council seat dedication recipients. First, I'd like to invite to the podium Helene Ross. For here. I'm going to say a lot of nice things about you. Okay? Helene and Herb Roth have spent more than 50 years devoting their time and energy to supporting philanthropies in the arts here in Thousand Oaks. In 1968, Helene founded the Westlake Women's Club, an organization of women committed to making a difference in our community. For 50 years, the Westlake Women's Club raised hundreds of thousands of dollars from 3 annual events to support local youth, seniors, education, the arts, veterans, and the environment to promote peace and understanding in our world. In 1993, Helene single-handedly founded the Friends of the Civic Arts Plaza, the original nonprofit arm of our Performing Arts Center. The Friends supplied volunteer ushers to work Civic Art Plaza events, created 3 Civic Arts Plaza gift shops, provided grants to support educational performances for children, and many, many other accomplishments. Helene served as the first president of the Friends and remained active in the organization following her tenure, which led to her subsequent recognition as President Emeritus. Helene has served on boards of directors for the Caneo Symphony, the Caneo Symphony Guild, the Westlake Cultural Foundation, and New West Symphony. She's also a volunteer and sits on the Council for California Museum of Art here in Thousand Oaks. This past March, Helene was crowned the 2018 Mardi Gras Queen by Community Conscience. Of course, none of this work could have been possible without the support and assistance of her husband of 51 years, Herb. Herb was instrumental in helping establish and run the Friends of the Civic Arts Plaza gift shops and generally providing whatever assistance the organization required. Although we sadly lost Herb in 2006, his contributions to our great city live on in a vibrant arts programs and in his wife's tireless, passionate commitment to making our city and the world a more beautiful place. It's my honor to present Helene with this city proclamation and seat dedication. Congratulations.
Thank you all so much. Thank you very much, our city council people and the mayor, and particularly Al Adams, who has many years with me and worked at a time when we were struggling to get the gift shops back again. I value your friendship and your help over these years. And I just want to say a couple things about the people that were my mentors originally. I didn't do it all on my own. I don't know if any of them are here. Is Tom Mitzi here?
He was earlier today.
Well, Tom Mitzi was the first theater manager, general theater manager, and he was, we worked hand in hand. He was my mentor. And the assistant city manager was Mary Jane Laz, and the mayor at that time was Judy Lazar. So I thank those 3 people, and even though they're not here tonight, I hope they're listening. And thank you all. This community is a wonderful place to live. We've gone through this tragedy, but we've come through with flying colors. So thank you all. Your support has been invaluable all these years.
Mayor Fox, just a real quick story. When Helene started the Friends of the Civic Arts Plaza back in the early 90s, she was met with some skepticism. She put out a call for ushers, and she was told that she'd be lucky to get 50, maybe 75 people. Well, over 1,000 people showed up to volunteer as ushers at the Civic Arts Plaza, and they helped run this theater for 20 plus years. So Helene's got a lot to be thankful for.
Next, I'd like to invite up to the podium our police chief, Thousand Oaks Police Chief Tim Hagel.
rascal. Can I sit down now?
Nope. I could talk all night long without looking at a single word about Tim Hagel, but to make sure that I don't miss all the important accomplishments, at least a snapshot, I'm going to go ahead and read just a snapshot of the things that Tim has done. As we all know, the city has just experienced a month of terrible tragedies, the likes of which none of us have ever seen. Through these horrible events, we have found hope and comfort as we witness our friends and neighbors coming forward to offer love, kindness, and support to those who have been personally affected. Tonight, we are stronger because we have come together as a community of compassion and charity. I can't think of a more appropriate time to honor a man who demonstrates this generosity of spirit, this deep devotion to people of Thousand Oaks, both during terrible moments of crisis and the typical challenges of everyday life. Then, our next seat dedication recipient, please join me in recognizing our very own Thousand Oaks Police Chief, Tim Hagel. For 29 years, Chief Hagel has served this community with Ventura County Sheriff's Department, and we have been blessed to have his leadership as our Chief of Police for the past 5 years. During that time, Chief Hagel has committed himself to tackling the city's public safety issues with compassion and a hands-on approach. He addressed the city's homeless population by assigning a vulnerable populations officer who is dedicated full-time to assisting the homeless and by working with residents and local philanthropies to help people get the service they need. His Safe Passage program, which helps create a sense of belonging, safety, and purpose to young kids who are at risk for recruitment into local gangs, has led to dramatic decreases in gang activity and increases in trust between parents, children, and local police. Chief Hagel also devotes a tremendous amount of time to working and camping with youth in the Explorers program, believing that the best way to ensure future generations of high-quality law enforcement candidates is to train, mentor, and provide them with enriching opportunities when they are at a young age. But nowhere was the Chief's commitment to compassion more apparent than during the events of the past month. Chief Hagel went out of his way to offer comfort to the victims, families of the borderline shooting. He sat with them as they waited for news. He listened to the stories of their loved ones, comforted, attended every memorial service, and inspired an entire city to show their support through a letter writing drive. As the city was struck with its second tragedy, the Hill and Woolsey fires, Chief Hagel sent deputies to shelters to make sure they had sufficient staffing. He supported the victims at advocate meetings and helped them get referrals for support and aid. Regardless of the situation or circumstance, when our great city has needed him, Chief Hagel has been there to personally offer a helping hand, a pat on the back, or a shoulder to cry on. His actions and leadership have helped the city begin the long process of healing and have demonstrated the power that one individual can make such a difference in another one's life. And for those of you that don't know, Tim is our own product here in Thousand Oaks. He was born and raised here. This is his town. This is where his family lives. He is Thousand Oaks through and through. In all my years of seat dedications, I cannot think of a single person, with all due respect to the many people that we've dedicated seats to, who is more deserving of a seat dedication. And it's my belief that he is the very first police chief to receive this honor. It's my utmost honor to present our police chief, Tim Hagel, with his seat dedication.
I wondered why the city manager said I had to be here tonight. For the last 34 days, I've talked to thousands of people, thousands and thousands. And they ask me how the families are doing. How's everybody doing? And my answer is this. There might be 130,000 of us that look different, that speak different, that worship different, that walk different. But there's 130,000 people in this community that are strong, and we are all one family.
Finally, we have one more seat dedication, and this is to recognize our fallen hero, Sergeant Ron Lee Heelis. We are so fortunate to have Sergeant Heelis' wife, Karen, and their son, Jordan, with us here tonight, and I'd like to invite both Karen and Jordan to the podium. Even before the fateful night of November 7th, the city benefited from the devoted service of Sergeant Ron Heelis, who worked in the Thousand Oaks Police Department through the Ventura County Sheriff's Department for nearly 15 years. Sergeant Heelis began his work in law enforcement in 1989. Over the course of his 29-year career, he was promoted from deputy sheriff to senior deputy and finally to the rank of sergeant. He worked at the detention facility and the jail. He worked patrol as a detective, narcotics enforcement officer, and on the SWAT team and range cadre. His final assignment was a patrol sergeant for the Thousand Oaks Police Department. Across the board, Sergeant Heelis earned the respect and trust of his colleagues, who admired his commitment to his training and his passion for training others. He was loyal, caring, and dependable, not just for his family and friends and coworkers, but for the communities he protected. He took very seriously his responsibility to keep our citizens safe. And when the time came, he was willing to bravely place himself in harm's way to ensure that others would be safe. There's likely not one single citizen of Thousand Oaks who has not been moved by the courage and selfless commitment of Sergeant Heelis to the people he served. He will forever be held as an example of what it means to hold steadfast to your values, to serve the greater good, and to be, in the truest sense of the word, a hero. We will never know how many lives were saved by Sergeant Heelis at the Borderline Bar and Grill, but we do know that his actions have touched the hearts of the entire nation. The city of Thousand Oaks owes Sergeant Heelis a huge debt of gratitude, not just for his final act of service, but for example he led his entire life. It's my honor to present a seat dedication to Karen and Jordan in memory of their loved one and our Sergeant Ron Heelis.
Okay. On behalf of the Heelis family, just a huge amount of gratitude and thanks, not just to the city, but to the whole community. This really is Thousand Oaks strong, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
We've got some presentations for the outgoing council members. There's several individuals tonight in attendance that want to present to you, Mayor Fox. And so, in addition, not just you, but also Councilmember Price. Joel, if you'd head up there and join Andy. And we're going to do this in order. And so I'd like to call our first person to share, and that would be representing Congresswoman Julia Brownley's office, Field Representative Marcy Davis. There you are. Come on. Red Rover, come on over.
And I'm here, right? Okay.
Right there.
All right, good evening, everybody. Okay. The Congresswoman couldn't be here because of congressional scheduling, so she sent me instead, and it's just a true honor to be in the presence of everybody tonight. So thank you for that. On behalf of Congresswoman Brownley, I would like to present Mayor Fox with a certificate of congressional recognition for 24 years of dedicated service and leadership to the community of Thousand Oaks. Thank you. And to Councilmember Price for 6 years of dedicated service to the city of Thousand Oaks.
Thank you so much.
Now, Jackie, I knew you thought you were next, but you're not. We had a late addition. State Senator jumped in. So we've got State Senator's office, Henry Stern. Jeremy Wolf will be the representative there. Jeremy, are you here? Come on. Jackie, you're on deck.
Good evening, everyone. It is such an honor to be here in this beautiful, strong community of Thousand Oaks. My name is Jeremy Wolf, and I work for State Senator Henry Stern. The senator was not able to be here tonight, but he wanted to send me on behalf to show our gratitude for the service that these two gentlemen have done to the city of Thousand Oaks. So on behalf of the city, I want to thank you. On behalf of our office, I want to thank you. And on behalf of the great state of California, Senator Stern would like to thank you guys for your service and dedication to our community. And we have 2 certificates of recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. And now we have Assemblywoman Jackie Irwin in person.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you to the city. I don't think we could have found more appropriate people to honor with seat dedications, especially after everything the city has been through. So, Andy, this is the end of an era. 24 years, and it hasn't always been easy. I think especially the first 10 years. And not for you or for your family. But regardless of the circumstances, you have always been the consummate professional, and we saw that over the last month. You are one of the finest and most impactful council members in the history of the city of Thousand Oaks. I have a proclamation here. It lists many, many, many things. But whether you're saving the Western Plateau or mediating through a difficult problem, you're always thinking about, or you were always thinking about, what was best for the city, its residents, even when the path to solutions was difficult. I remember when I first met you, we were on the Titans, and I went up to you. I think it was the first few words that I said to you. Does the city have any money to fix the field in Thousand Oaks? And you said to me, Jackie, you have to think much bigger. And we did, and ended up with fields and tracks and stands at every high school. You have been an inspiration and a mentor to many people, and you've always, the way that you have led has always made those of us who listen and absorb be better leaders. And I just want a couple of examples that I tell people all the time. Your Andyisms. Change needs to happen at a rate people can absorb. And it's amazing how much you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit. There have been many, many council meetings where everybody is grappling with very difficult decisions, different perspectives and viewpoints, and after everybody speaks, often you bring it all together with your summation, and I say to myself, that was brilliant, yet again. We will miss your servant leadership on the council, but as you and Letitia move on, I'm always grateful for the time I had with you and for our ongoing friendship. Thank you very much, and thank you on behalf of the residents of Thousand Oaks for your service. And Joel. I'm very grateful for our professional relationship and our longtime friendship. Ever since you were first appointed, I found you to be one of the hardest working council members, the council member that always did his homework, and the one that was willing and even enjoyed working on issues like wastewater and trash. But I think your biggest impact has been with your leadership at the state level, with the League of California Cities, and at the national level with NLC. Joel's work, and a lot of times it's not reported in the newspapers, but it has been of tremendous benefit to the city of Thousand Oaks. Being able to weigh in on policy at the state level and at the federal level has really advanced the city. You've been a lifelong public servant with your years at LAPD and your years on the council, and I know that you will continue to serve the residents of TO. I'm certainly very appreciative of your expertise and willing to help me this year with the legislation that we're going to be running. So thank you very much for your service, Joel.
Thank you, Jackie. Now we have former mayor, but now serving as our county supervisor, Linda Parks.
I can no other time say how proud I am to be a part of the city of Thousand Oaks, to call the city of Thousand Oaks my home. So classy of you and your dedication of the seats this evening, and I thank you for that. I also want to congratulate both Rob McCoy, who will ascend to the mayorship, and also Claudia Bill for your record-breaking number of votes, and thank you for your dedication. I have proclamations for our outgoing mayor, Andy Fox. Almost 24 years. That's a long time. And his intelligence that he brought to matters is just, when he put himself, dedicated himself to something that he wanted done and could do it, it was pretty awesome to see. and whether you agreed with him or not, his ability to get things done for what he thought was the best for our city is quite remarkable. And I just want to thank you for your 2 decades and a half of service for the city of Thousand Oaks. Started off, as Joel and I did, on the Planning Commission and moving up. It takes a lot of time and dedication, and I also want to thank his wife for giving him up, and just thank you for the time you spent. He always had the best excuse when he came in late. Sorry, he was putting out a fire, So, but congratulations. Here's on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. And then also Joel Price, thank you to just a real good guy, and really gave a lot to his city, too. I hope you enjoyed the experience. We really appreciated the work that you did, so thank you both.
Now, when Westlake was developed, it landed on right between 2 counties, and so the Ventura side we got, and the LA side, they got a new city, and we have their mayor with us, Mayor of Westlake, Ned Davis. Come on down.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here tonight and allowing me to speak on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Westlake Village. Thousand Oaks is a tremendous asset to Westlake Village. We share some of the same names. Westlake Boulevard isn't even in the city of Westlake Village. I'm so envious. I'll start with Joel. Joel, I've known you for a long, long time. Went to college with Janine and met her before I met you. And it didn't work. So, I mean, she married you anyway. Joel, you've been a public servant your whole life. You prepared for, according to our friends, for your service with the police department probably at the age of 10. You probably started listening to police scanners and all sorts of things. And it's part of your entertainment, I think. And then to serve on the Planning Commission, and then when the time came, your colleagues found you to be the guy who could stand in for Dennis Gillette when he had to retire. And that's quite an honor. And then to be reelected into that position, it's really quite a great career. And I want to present you with this plaque in recognition of your distinguished service to the City Council as mayor and also as a council member for the City of Thousand Oaks from 2012 to 2018. And it's presented by the City Council of the City of Westlake Village, December 11th, 2018. And it's real wood. Andy, I moved to Westlake Village in 1994. It says here that you started on this council in 1994. So I don't know of any other council member who has been here as long as you have. You've been here as long as I have, but clearly serving. You are one of those individuals who has always been in public service. As a firefighter, you put your life on the line. You've been to every emergency I can imagine, and it's only. I have to tell you, when I woke up that Thursday morning, I woke up to your voice on television. And they say in a crisis, someone will lead. And what you want to be sure is that somebody who's leading has the temperament and the experience to do that leadership. And you, my friend, and Sheriff Dean, incredible, just incredible. And we're just so lucky that you were there and still here. To help us. And Thousand Oaks Strong, I think of Andy Fox. And from the city of Westlake Village, in recognition of your distinguished service as a city council member and mayor of the city of Thousand Oaks, 1994 to 2018, presented by the City Council of the City of Westlake Village, December 11th, 2018. This is your plaque.
Mayor Davis brought real wood. That's why he got to speak longer. So Conejo Recreation Park District, if you've got anything better than wood. Oh, backpack. All right. That might work. Chuck Huffer, Jim Friel, come on down.
Good evening. I'm Chuck Huffer, currently the chair for the Conejo Recreation and Park District, and we just wanted to. I'm joined with fellow board member George Lang and recently elected board member Doug Nichols, along with our general manager Jim Friedel. We just wanted to, first of all, thank or congratulate Claudia for her reelection, and wanted to congratulate Ed, who we've known for 8 years on the Park District Board. Now, I don't know if it's moving up, sideways, down, but anyway, he's moving over to the City Council. And then also congratulate Bob for both of you for your election this year. We did want to thank both Joel and Andy for the years of service that you've given to our city. Both Joel and Andy have been strong advocates for the continued great partnership that the City and Park District have had over the years. Various parks, various programs. Probably the best two recent examples would be the recently extended long-term agreements that the city and the Park District have for the Global Center and the Teen Center over at Conejo Creek North, and most recently the ribbon cutting for the last and possibly crown jewel of the community park system, Sapwe Trails Community Park. Thanks to you two and to the city, close to 1/3 of the total cost of that park was contributed by the city, which made it possible for the district to open the park in one fell swoop as opposed to spreading it out over a period of time. So thank you both very much for your role in that. Joel, thank you for your 6 years of service to our community, to the city, serving as mayor in 2016. You helped mobilize our community around the idea of the Special Olympics World Games, getting us designated as a host city for that special event. And you played a large role in bringing the Rams to our city some years ago. So thank you very much. Also been a leader in addressing the issues of housing, especially for seniors and for the homeless. Andy, everyone's already mentioned it, 24 years, pretty incredible. Finishing your 6th term as mayor, one of the roles that you've had with the city and the Park District has been as a board member for COSCA, I think much or most of those 24 years. And thanks to your work with COSCA, we now have something in excess of 12,000 acres and 150 miles of hiking trails. You've been a great voice, certainly in the past month, for what our city has been going through. As opposed to the proclamations and the plaques and all those good things you two have been receiving tonight, we decided something a little more relevant to the Park District, and General Manager Friel has a couple of gifts for you.
Yeah, so you guys have a card too. Mayors. So I just have to say, those are not normal backpacks. Those are specifically for disc golf. So you'll have 4 discs in there when you go out onto Sapwe Trails and play disc golf. And you got a water bottle, and then you'll also have lifetime, the rest of your life of hiking trails in that book there. So get out and enjoy that which you guys have contributed to and built.
So we got a backpack. Let's see. With Leanne Nielsen, the chair of the Thousand Oaks Alliance for the Arts, I think you're going to present a car? Okay.
My name is Leanne Nielsen, and I serve as the chair of the board of the Thousand Oaks Alliance for the Arts. And on behalf of TO Arts, I want to thank both Council Member Joel Price and Mayor Andy Fox for your commitment and your support to all levels of the arts in Thousand Oaks. The merger that resulted in TO Arts would not have happened without your support. Yeah. Mayor Fox had the vision for how the two combined organizations could succeed as one. And within the first year and a half of operations, I believe we've proven you were right. You provided leadership, visionary foresight, and significant support for the merger, for which we are so grateful. Our best wishes to Councilmember Price and Mayor Fox, and our thanks to the entire City Council and the staff of the City of Thousand Oaks for working with us to create a place where the arts thrive for all. We have plaques to present to you to acknowledge your dedication to the arts.
Thank you, Leanne. You need to make room, Chief? Are you good? President and CEO of the Greater Conejo Valley Chamber of Commerce. We have Jill Lederer and also Adam Haverstock. So there they are up there.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jill Lederer, CEO of the Greater Conejo Valley Chamber of Commerce. I'm here tonight with our Director of Government Affairs and Tourism, Adam Haverstock, and our Government Affairs and Tourism Coordinator, Dan Garcia. We're here tonight on behalf of Chris Shaver, our board chair, the entire board of directors, and the 1,000 members of the Greater Conejo Valley Chamber of Commerce to say a heartfelt thank you to both of you. Councilman Price, we will talk first a little bit about you. You brought us the Special Olympics. You brought us the Rams. You brought us, most of all, your great joy and a servant's heart. And it has been such a pleasure to get to know you and to work with you. And we have a little gift for you here tonight. I'm going to read it for you. It has been 24 years. I can't see it. Okay. This document certifies that a donation was made in recognition of the remarkable community service of City Council member Joel Price, City of Thousand Oaks, by the Greater Conejo Valley Chamber of Commerce to the GoFundMe campaign supporting the family of Sergeant Ron Heelis. We thank you so very much for your service. Mayor Fox, so about 25 years ago today, you and I also attended a State of the City address, much as we did today, although today's was by far bigger and more celebratory and people coming together in a very heartfelt way. I remember then I was board chair of the Chamber of Commerce, and you came up to me and you said, "Hey, I think I'm going to run for City Council." And I gave it a lot of thought and thought about something deep and meaningful and inspirational to say, and I said, "Good luck, we got to get started." So, little did I know at that point that we were the lucky ones. You have been an ear to the business community. You have achieved the perfect balance of education, government, residents, businesses over 24 years. We have such admiration and such respect for you. One of your favorite campaign slogans was "Go hard or go home." And our little gift, we actually have two gifts for you here tonight. And this is one. You have gone hard, and you have done an amazing job. You have been a council member and a mayor that this city will never forget in the best possible ways. And this is an eagle. I believe you received the first eagle that this chamber ever gave the first time you were mayor. And this eagle is a sign of freedom, and now you're free. Go home, enjoy your life. But wait, there's more. We've heard so much. This has been a month that none of us will ever forget. It's impacted our hearts and our souls in ways that maybe we're only just beginning to grasp. And at a time when healing had barely begun, and I think most of us could barely consider that healing could ever happen, you and your city council colleagues had a vigil here, I believe in this very room. And you led with something that resonated with all of us at the chamber. You said, "However long the dark, the dawn will break." It was an African proverb, and it was said by Mayor Andy Fox, City of Thousand Oaks, November 8th, 2018. This is for you, and on behalf of a grateful chamber, we thank you so much for your service.
Hear, hear. And now we have Sean Maradion, president of the Thousand Oaks Boulevard Association.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor Pro Temp McCoy, council members, Mayor Fox, Mr. Price. Well, my name is Sean Maradion. I'm a lifelong resident of Thousand Oaks and the proud president of the Thousand Oaks Boulevard Property Owners Association. I'd like to start off with a few words, if I may, for Mr. Fox. Tonight's the big night and the beginning of a next chapter, hopefully equally rewarding and as enjoyable as the past 24 years have been. We really want to thank you and Ms. Fox for your love of this city and the sacrifices you've made over the years. On behalf of our Property Owners Association, we'd like to express our heartfelt appreciation for 24 years of outstanding service to a community. Serving 1, 2, and 3 terms is admirable, but 6 terms is unheard of in local government. Only a person truly committed to public service, giving back to their community, will put that time in as you have, and for that we will forever be grateful to you and Ms. Fox. Your service, commitment, and contributions expand to every inch of our city, and we are collectively greater off as a result. You pioneered land use policies that ensure the residents of Thousand Oaks preserve the quality of life, open space, and all the beauty we cherish and enjoy. There isn't a single resident of Thousand Oaks that hasn't been touched by your leaderships and accomplishments while serving on this council. At times, you're referred to as a godfather of Thousand Oaks. It's true. It's true. You have the ability to bring people together, find common ground, and work towards exciting solutions and deliver positive results. That's really, really, really remarkable characteristic of yours. You've been a steady supporter of our association and the vision of creating a downtown, pedestrian-friendly sense of place. Working with you has been educational and has helped me find a better way to serve our community. I'm honored to have had the privilege to work with you and will continue to work towards what we started together, leaving Thousand Oaks better than we found it. On a personal note, it's serendipitous to be addressing you this evening as you retire from public service, since you were the very first council member I ever met when I was a young teenager. You may not remember this. We have never discussed this before either. But my father brought me along to a city meeting one day, and he introduced us. It was short. However, after you walked away, he said to me, "Get to know your council members," referring to you. "You maybe have to work with them someday." Well, that introduction over 20 years ago has left a lasting impression on me that I have not forgotten. It was the very first moment that it was the very first memory of you, and I've never imagined that after 20 years, we would have the opportunity to work with you and collaborate on so many exciting ideas. It's going to be hard to not have you as part of our team moving forward. I hope you enjoy your much-deserved retirement and perhaps find some spare time to still stay involved with the city. On behalf of our board, we also got you some wood.
That was a little longer than a Wood speech, but okay.
Allow me to read it to you, Mr. Fox. With gratitude and appreciation for 20 years of dedicated and outstanding service, contribution, and leadership to the community. From the Thousand Oaks Boulevard Association, we thank you. Well, moving on to Mr. Price. Definitely, it's been an honor to work alongside you as well, sir. I think this evening it's bittersweet. You have been one of the champions of the Boulevard, champion of business, champion of public safety, and your love for this city is unparalleled to anything that I've ever seen. And we really, really want to express our deep sense of appreciation and gratitude to you, your wife Janine, your son that also serves and protects our community, and we hope that you also stay involved because you haven't put in your 24 years, not even close. And we definitely look forward to working with you as well. And on the association's behalf, we got you some glass. We didn't want to keep consistency. Okay, had to mix it up. Huh?
Lovely.
And it states, in recognition of your service and dedication to the residents of Thousand Oaks, and your support for the Boulevard from our association. Thank you.
We're going to get that as well. We're going to get that as well. These are your boxes. These are your boxes. That's my speech. And just real quick, what are you doing?
I'm up next.
Such a rush. Real quick, I just wanted to take a moment on behalf of our association to congratulate our new council members and re-elect Claudia Bill de La Pena. Really looking forward to working with you, Council Member-elect Ed Jones, and Councilor-elect Mr. Engler. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. On behalf of the city employees and the executive team, our own city manager, Andrew Powers.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask any of the members of the executive team that can step down, please kind of step down down here. I'm pleased tonight to be making a couple quick presentations on behalf of our executive leadership team. Those of us on that team have worked closely with all 5 council members on a daily basis, and certainly in my tenure here, I've had a great opportunity of working with both Councilmember Price and Mayor Fox. So I'm going to start with Councilmember Joel Price. And we went around the table this morning. We were just reflecting on the various qualities and sort of experiences that all of us have had collectively with you through the years. And some common themes came up, and some of them have already been mentioned this evening. And so I want to start with Joel. From all of us, just the incredible level of preparedness and thoughtfulness that you brought to the table every single day. His exposure that he brought to the city of Thousand Oaks, and many residents don't know this, but his involvement in the national and state league of cities, his involvement on national level policy committees, just incredibly important. And I can't tell you how many times one of us has been at a conference and someone has crossed another staff member and says, "Oh, Joel Price is one of your council members. You're so incredibly lucky." And we all have heard that in various settings in various ways through the years. Makes us proud to hear that. You've been my partner in working to find a permanent home for the Rams. We've been in countless meetings and countless discussions and strategy sessions on that. I'm going to miss those discussions. With the Special Olympics World Games was mentioned, just a huge task, major feat, and that really came directly from Joel's involvement. The methodical analysis you brought to really difficult policy issues. Jay Spurgeon wanted you to know you're his favorite traffic commissioner ever. Mark didn't mention anything about planning commission, so I don't know. Your willingness and availability to sit down with residents. Doesn't matter who they are or what question they had. I saw it time and again. We'd get an email, and then before you knew it, Joel was sitting down having coffee and talking through. And that's the kind of grassroots level civic engagement that matters in a community. And your calm and collected tone, you set the council up for success during a period of transition, and I'll always remember watching that firsthand. So from all of us, we all chipped in and got you something very special and very breakable, so be careful with that. And Tracy will present it to us. Thank you so much for your service and all you've done for us through the years. And Mayor Fox, I came to this organization 13 years ago, and I was running communications at that time. And I really remember the day, the first time you came in my office and sat down. And through the years, how our relationship has grown, and what you've taught me, and certainly all these people behind me. The term born leader came up in multiple occasions with multiple conversations with different staff members. Cindy, it was particularly fond, having worked in many cities, your ability to move a meeting along with efficiency. You're a true strategist, a partner every single person around the table had some example or some story about the strategy you brought to bear on a really difficult issue that we were wrestling with. You were always a partner. It wasn't like we had an elected official at the table as a partner. We were all trying to solve community challenges. You were never shy from rolling up your sleeves, always focused on achieving a consensus outcome. Even if you've been working all night in the firehouse, you were willing to come in with a couple cups of black coffee and get to work. Whether it's Miller Ranch mediation, mobile home park ordinance, the Western Plateau, the TO Arts merger, the list goes on and on and on. Establishing a vision for downtown, as our previous speaker mentioned. A lot of folks don't know this, but Andy had this idea years ago to add $1 per golf round to add into the Open Space Endowment Fund. That still continues on today. Just one of those seemingly small things at the time that has paid huge dividends over the years. And your deep experience in finance. You were key just this past year in helping our pension reform and sustainability efforts with the establishment of our pension sustainability fund. So on behalf of all the executives, and especially on behalf of myself, you've been a leadership mentor to me, and we're all so appreciative of having worked with you for these years. Thank you.
I think it's worth waiting to open those. I want to see what they are. Councilmember Price, stay put. Even though we're still going to have a couple more presentations for Mayor Fox, there's something still coming up, so don't go anywhere. These are strictly for Mayor Fox. We have Rory Skay, the COSCA chair. You wanted to present to Mayor Fox? And Chuck Cohen and Ed Jones, you're on deck. So don't sit way at the top.
So Andy has been on the COSCA board, that's the Canea Open Space Conservation Agency, the joint powers authority that the city and the park district so wisely put together back in 1977. But Andy has been one of the city representatives on that board for his entire time as a city councilman. And we've so appreciated his wise counsel. He's been instrumental in, along with the rest of the city and Councilmember Price, in a lot of land preservation. Western Plateau has been mentioned. That was a huge coup. The Seventh-day Adventist specific plan, preservation of Montclef Ridge and Hill Canyon, Woodbridge. It goes on and on. And Andy, we know you're going to have so much time on your hands now, and you're going to want to be a trail volunteer, right? So we needed to give you a hickory walking stick so you can push the rattlesnakes away as you hike our trails. So on behalf of the whole COSCA board, and that includes Councilmember Claudia Bildel La Pena and our park board representatives, Doug Nichols and Chuck Huffer, thank you so much for your service.
Representing former mayors, we have former
I'm going
Mayor
to keep
Chuck
the
Cohen.
stick away from Letitia just in case things get ugly at the house.
Yeah.
For the backyard.
These are all our former mayors.
No wood, just ceramics. Mayor Fox, members of the council, tonight is not the peaceful passage of authority. Tonight is a sea change for the city of Thousand Oaks. I want to introduce to you your members of your alumni association, Judy Lazar, Larry Horner, Linda Parks, Ed Jones, Bob Wilson, Bob Lewis, and Jackie Irwin, and I'm sorry that Mike and and Dick, our consummate mayor. Yes, thank you, Dick. Sorry that Shello and Markey aren't here. The offering of the Mayor's Cup was initiated by this young man back here, former mayor named Edwin Jones. Due to circumstances beyond the control of Mr. Jones, his family, and his legion of supporters, as well as the overwhelming advice of his fellow former mayors, he is returning to a seat on the next city council. In doing so, he concluded that his making this customary presentation to you would be awkward. Therefore, he enlisted me as his surrogate, and now you know the rest of the story. You are no novice to this major, no expense spared recognition. Having already received 5 of such remembrances for your time as in mayoral service. Now, should you reconsider your decision to retire, you would likely be eligible for service for 8. One special mention before bringing up some of the other mayors to the microphone is a feeling of great sense of joy but loss to a terrific council member in person, Joel Price. Putting practicality and some effort at humor aside, this presentation of the Mayor's Cup carries special meaning. No mayor in the history of this fine city experienced the travail of November 2018, and you performed magnificently, along with your colleagues, our city manager, police chief, first responders, and the entire city staff. You helped keep us safe, but more importantly, you made us feel safe. A sterling conclusion to a platinum tour of duty. So I'd like to bring up for a couple of comments Bob Lewis, who was instrumental in you coming into government.
Don't know about instrumental, but first, as all of us on this side have been over with the city, I want to express, because we have some understanding of the leadership of both the city council and the city staff on this extremely trying last month. Thank you. That really took a very trying time and helped make it a little bit smoother. Thank you. Second, I want to congratulate Claudia on your reelection and Ed and Bob on their election. Joel, going to miss you. Thank you. I think those of us who've been mayor understand better than anyone else the unbelievable amount of time and effort it takes to sit as both a council member and even more as a mayor of this wonderful city that we've had the privilege and honor to be able to serve. Andy, I don't know where to start. It's hard to believe that a little bit over 30 years ago, at a time when I actually had hair on my head, as a newly elected council member, I was interviewing people for Planning Commission and who to nominate to the council to be recommended as Planning Commissioner. And of course, I had people who had applied who I had known for years. And, you know, that's not unusual. And in walks this young man, never met before. The meeting went on and on and on because I was intrigued. And I end up ultimately, after a second interview, deciding I'm going to go with my gut and my instinct. And I couldn't be prouder and pleased. You have done an absolutely incredible job. I've had the privilege and angst of working on the other side with you on some issues, both as dealing with the Alliance for the Arts and others, and you represent this city unbelievably well. Thank you, Andy. Very, very proud of you. Thank you.
Larry Horner has a couple of comments for you too, Andy. I hope they're nice.
Well, good evening. I'm Larry Horner, the class of 1990. I'd like to, first of all, congratulate Bob, Ed, and Claudia on their victories this past election. And I would also like to express my deep appreciation for former Councilmember Price and his family. He's an outstanding individual, excellent public servant. But in these days of the way political climates go up and down and backwards and forwards and that sort of thing, you can't predict the vicissitudes of change very intelligently at all. But nonetheless, he gave his very best. He was an outstanding council member, certainly an excellent public servant in his prior years. We'll miss him right now for the time being, and I'm going to put quote marks on that time being because I think this is a temporary restraining order, so to speak, but he will be back. 45 years ago, I was the president of the Westlake Joint Board of Homeowners Associations, and they indicated that they would like the area stream of Thousand Oaks. That meant running for city council. And I said, no way. And the reason for that, I was very happy in the corporate world, and I just didn't feel that that was the right thing for me. Well, that was not my decision to rely on, and I was selected by a group of people to run for city council. One evening at home, we got a telephone call from a person that we did not know then, but we had heard of him, and his name was Ed Jones. Ed came by and wanted to speak with us a little bit about what he had heard about the possibility of me running for city council. And I said, Ed, I just don't think that that's the kind of thing for me. He says, look, you've got all of Westlake behind you. You're a pioneer there. The only thing we are going to have to do is get you some mainstream support in the Thousand Oaks area where Alex Fiore was pretty much the mainstream of the political climate in Thousand Oaks. And I still said no. And so he said, well, you think about it, but I think that I'm going to try to help you get elected, and the rest is history. The other person that came by a couple days later was the gentleman that was just giving the presentation of the cup, Chuck Cohen. He came by and he had the same message that Ed Jones had. So I said, well, you know, if they feel this way, then maybe I should try. The bottom line is that when Ed Jones engages somebody to participate in something that he's involved with, he will not let up. The first thing that I learned from Ed Jones was, you've got to walk precincts. I said, oh, you know, I don't feel like doing all that walking, you know. I'm a busy man. I don't want to walk. He said, well, you told me that you used to run track in college and high school. I said, yeah, but I was a sprinter. He said, well, yeah, but you're going to have to do cross country here to get you in preparation for the sprints that you're going to make it next spring in the election. And the rest is history. Ed Jones, to my family, has been one of the wonders of our earlier days in the 50 years we've lived here. He's always been there. He's always been helpful. and he's always been considerate. And his advice was usually always very right on the money. The other person was the gentleman that just presented this cup, Chuck Cohen. And he was the same way. And he was always very helpful and always very courteous and very sympathetic, and his resources were outstanding. So when you look at the past and you think in terms of what you have been able to contribute and what you would like to see future people contribute, you say, well, let's keep the legend going. A few years later, there was a gentleman by the name of Bob Lewis, who became a council member and mayor, and he picked a young man who had hair at the time named Andy Fox. He was on the Planning Commission. And Andy seemed to have fallen into a niche that was just meant for him. And he has made what I consider one of the finest mayors and city council members in the history of the city. Second to none. And so we all want to thank Andy for his service. We want to give our very best to his wife and his family for their personal sacrifices that they have made in order for him to continue to participate. The new council members have a big challenge coming up ahead of you. We want to wish you our very best. We'll stand behind you. And certainly if there's anything that any of the old members of the Old Folks Club here can help you with, do not hesitate to call, because we're going to be right behind you to keep this city the greatest, as it's always been titled, in the country. And we're so proud to have such a wonderful council in the past. We have a wonderful council now, and we're going to have a continued council in the future. Thank you. Happy holidays to you and your families, and best wishes.
Andy, as I hand you this notable cup, thank you, Ed. All I can say is Alex would be proud.
Yeah. Thank you to the former mayors. Chief Spikerman, you wanted to say some things? Thousand Oaks Fire Chief Spikerman.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I am just hearing all the comments that I've heard tonight. I'm the newest member of the E-team for the city of Thousand Oaks. I've been in my position just about 7 months, and just everything I've heard just humbles me to be part of this team. I feel so fortunate. I'm stepping into just this great thing, and I'm just letting you two guys know that I will not let you down. I will continue to do good things for this team, and if you ever have any questions, you can always check up on me. So I'm here just to say thank you for the firefighters in the city of Thousand Oaks, for all your service, all your support, the dedication. We can't do it without you as city members. So I won't make it too fast, even though I have glass, a little bit of metal, and some paper. So I don't know what time that gives.
It's all right. They went on with a mug. It's okay.
Okay, good deal. I don't know if glass buys you anything. So, being the newest member, I just want to say thank you. It's when you join a prestigious team like this, you don't know how you're going to be accepted. You're the new person, but I always felt welcome, so I appreciate that. You greeted me with smiles and a handshake, and I wish I could have got to know you better, and hopefully I'll still be able to interact with you guys. So here's a couple of water glasses. You can fill them with whatever you want. But you can fill them. And then Mayor Fox, and it's very hard for me not to call you Chief Fox. So Mayor Fox, Chief Fox, we do also have a certificate of appreciation from the fire department for all your work and leadership in the city of Thousand Oaks. But I also have something else for you. I have a challenge coin from our fire chief. And challenge coins aren't given to anybody. They're given to those who exceed expectations. And that's not me, that's exceed. And Mayor Fox and Chief Fox, he's dedicated his life to public service in the LA City Fire Department, which I'm happy about because now my son works there. But hearing now today that he's worked on the city council or been the mayor for 24 years, I don't know how he could do it. I've been on our department for 30. There is no way I could have done what he has done. So you have definitely exceeded that expectation in public service, and I'd like to present you this challenge coin from us, the fire department.
Thank you, Chief. Now, for you, Joel, we've got an individual in attendance this evening who has requested to make a special presentation to you, and that's Chloe Nash, the chair of the Youth Commission. Chloe, where are you, dear? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Chloe Nash, and I'm the chair of the Thousand Oaks Youth Commission. Councilmember Price, you have actually personally provided me with one of the greatest high school experiences by interviewing and appointing me and many of us here tonight to serve on the Youth Commission. On behalf of the entire Thousand Oaks Youth Commission, I want to thank you for your heartfelt service and your great sense of humor. You're truly a prime example of selfless leadership and public service to the youth of Thousand Oaks. As a youth commission, we are grateful for your support of all of our projects and programs. You have attended too many youth events and programs to count, including the Therapeutic Dance, Special Olympics, Youth Recognition, and Youth Leadership Summit, just to name a few, and we appreciate the time you set aside outside of your busy schedule. As everyone knows, Joel Price also represented the city as a board member at the National League of Cities. This fall, because of his recommendation, 6 of us had the opportunity to experience this conference as proud representatives of the city of Thousand Oaks. We are so grateful for the experience we had. It changed our lives. We thank you for your service to the community and the city council for the past 6 years. We will truly miss you. And as a token of our appreciation, we have some glass.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So before we move on to presentations, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege here. Some of Letitia and R's family are here. As many as you know, we got 8 kids and 10 grandkids. So all the city vans were taken up, so there was no way to get them here. But for any of you folks that follow college football, you may know that we have what I believe, I could be wrong, but what I believe is our first Thousand Oaks representative young student athlete who is going to represent our city from the University of Washington in this year's Rose Bowl. And he's our son, Andre. And Andre's here. I'd like Andre to stand up. Andre wears jersey number 5, but as I tell him, he's number 1 in our hearts. We wish him the very best. He's also 21 years old, so I'm guessing he's not staying the entire evening. He has to go back to school on Wednesday. So, all right. We have one more presentation, and it's my honor to make this presentation to our outgoing council member Joel Price. As I thought a little bit about what to say tonight, tonight is a little bit difficult in that, as has happened over the years, sometimes we have council members that do a very good job. They serve our community honorably and well, but the democratic process is a funny thing sometimes. And Joel is not the first. He will not be the last of a person who served with distinction, who served with honor, who was an outstanding council member. And unfortunately, their ability to serve the community was cut short, so to speak. I always want to recognize, though, that one service isn't necessarily meant or measured in how long they served, but as they say, it's the dash between when they started and when they finished. And as you can see from tonight, you really just got a little small snapshot of the amount of work that Joel Price and the amount of good that Joel Price has done for this community. He has served our community with honor. You will never find a more high character person to serve on our city council. As you listen to council meetings and council would go through its deliberations, you always knew where Joel Price stood. He was not a person to take the easy road, never took the politically easy way out. He did what he thought was always best for this community. And it has been mentioned before, Joel did the heavy work. Sometimes I call it the dirty work that nobody really wants to do. He would travel to Sacramento. He would travel to Washington. And that may sound somewhat exciting to people, so-called, perks. But believe me, it gets old being away from your family with the travel and all the meetings. And Joel really did that. He stuck up for the city. He did a great job representing us both in state and in the national forum. And as has been mentioned, you cannot find somebody who was more committed to constituent response, constituent service. This will be the first time in many years that we had not had somebody from law enforcement representing you, our citizens, on the city council. Joel's first love after his family is law enforcement and making sure our city is safe. And he has done that his entire tenure in city government. He will be missed, as has been mentioned before. We all hope this is not the last we see of Joel Price here in Thousand Oaks. I'm sure it will not be. But on behalf of my colleagues, it's my honor to present Joel with a city plaque for his years of service, not just on the city council, but Planning Commission, Transportation Commission, and many, many other endeavors. Joel, congratulations. We didn't include Joel in the seat dedications earlier, but as many of you know, when you serve on the city council, you also get a seat dedication, and Joel will be assigned seat H20. So that seat will represent the name of Councilmember Joel Price. Got it. At this time, I'll turn it over to our Mayor Pro Tem, Rob McCoy.
Because this section was omitted from your script, so it's about you. And because we have wood and paper, I'm going to be very brief. Andy, on behalf of a grateful city, I remember, and we'll never forget that fateful night when we all ended up at the command center. Never having experienced something like that, and turning and looking at you, there was a sigh of relief as you were coming back from your retirement party. And there you were with just courage and your wits about you, and managing a crisis that was amazing how you and Joel handled it and the rest of the council. I'm blessed to call you my friend, and on behalf of a grateful city council and a city that truly I can't think of enough superlatives or adjectives to describe how wonderful you are. And That's how you do a brief presentation. Here you go. Wait, in addition, there's more. It slices it. G11 is your seat, and we have dedicated it to you. Mayor Fox, congratulations. Now I'd like to have Council Member Al Adam share with you something that is very special to all of us, and this is what we were meeting earlier about. And Al,
Thank
this
you,
is
Rob.
your idea. Take it away.
Yeah, can I have the council members come around front with me for a moment, please? Andrew, you too. I think I may be the only one who calls him Andrew. I'd like to. All right, very good. Well, first of all, right next to me. First of all, in honor of your, how many years of service has it been? 24. There we go. We get that right. I want to present to you a little memento from your fellow council members that shows the respect and the affection that we have for you. And that is right here. Would you hold that for me?
Yes.
This is a specially designed plaque. Probably haven't seen one like this before. And it's got the gavel that Andy's been wielding now for 6 mayoral terms, and pictures of Andy on here, the young Andy and the not so young Andy. And you know, I don't usually read plaques, but this is a good one. Andy Fox, presented in recognition of 24 years of extraordinary service to the citizens of Thousand Oaks, with your catchphrase, "That is approved," right? And the most important part, it says here, from your favorite city council, right, Andy? December 11th, 2018, and it's signed by Claudia, Rob, Joel, and myself. I hope you hang this on a good spot, Andy. Now, a plaque is one thing, but after 24 years of service, we all thought to ourselves, you know, how can we really make this a significant event? And it comes to thinking about Andy and what he stands for. And you've been involved in a lot of things in the city over all these years. But the one common thread, I think, that Andy has demonstrated is his quest for good government. And his quest of using a process to get to good government. We all know about that process, don't we, Andy? Where we go step by step in a thoughtful manner. We build consensus on the way. We get public input. And we come up with a solution that makes everybody a winner. And that's what Andy strived to do all these years, whether it's the Western Plateau, whether it's helping our seniors, whether it's the TO Arts organization that's going to keep these theaters running for many, many years to come. Andy's managed to do that with honesty and integrity. And so good government, I think, is your middle name. And what better place than here in the city council chambers would good government be represented? Right here in this room. So, with that, Andrew, come January of 2019, we're going to have a public ceremony, and we're going to want you, obviously, there, and your beautiful wife, Letitia, and your family and your friends to be here on that day. And that is the day that we are going to name these city council chamber in your honor. It will from now henceforth be known as the Andrew P. Fox City Council Chamber, and here's what it's going to look like. Now, that's the front door to the city. And I just have one thought, Andy. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to put your cell phone number underneath the name. So if there's any problems or whatever, you can get right to him, and he'll use the process and solve them. No, actually, we're just very honored to have you with us these 24 years, and I hope you were surprised. We tried to keep it from you, and hopefully we did. So we look forward in January to dedicating this to you, Andrew P. Fox, our 24-year colleague and friend.
I know where we are, Tracy.
Oh, it's
Okay. Let me just say, I always wanted, I always thought it would be cool if I got like a hamburger named after me. Been working on the guy at the Crown and Anchor for a while to name a burger after me.
They were going to do a Scotch egg.
It's a little bit better. I think you're still up.
All right. Well, this is a time where we just share with you some heartfelt gratitude. I'll begin by just saying when I ran for the assembly against Jackie, who was your dear friend, and you didn't know me from Adam, and Jackie beat me like a rented mule. And then she vacated her seat, and I had the privilege to win by 52 votes. And as I say, you know what you call someone who wins by 52 votes? The winner. Ed struggled with that, and he fought and won. Good job. And so here we are, and I have to say that when I stepped onto the council, there was every reason to be suspect of this new guy. And the first thing he did is you sat down and you started to teach me and walk through how to handle an agenda. You took time to instruct me on what good government is. You're a remarkable man. And then to get to know you as a friend and witness your family and to see in action, I am privileged to have served with you. I can go on all night, and folks don't want me to. So suffice it to say, Andy, I am very grateful for you, and so is the city. And the rest of the council wants to talk, and I don't want to get proclaimed. So who wants to go next?
I guess I can.
All right.
So I'll take a little different tact here. Not that I'm going to beat up on Andy. That would be inappropriate. Much as I'd like to, because he's a fireman. But I appreciate the chuckles there. I want to speak to all City of Thousand Oaks residents in addition to the council here tonight. These past 6 years and 8 months have been some of the best times of my life. I've thoroughly enjoyed working on this council and representing you as an elected leader. I'm particularly proud to have served as your mayor in 2016, and as difficult as it was and continues to be, I am very thankful to have been here during what can only be called and has been called our darkest hour. I'm truly blessed to live in this city and to have been part of the group of people who moved us forward. Before I get too far into my comments, I think I need to thank my wife, Janine, who spent the past 41 years standing by me. As I dedicated myself to public service. Been a long time. And it hasn't always been easy. She will tell you that as well. Many were the night that I'd get a call in the middle of the night and be gone for days. And I thought that those days were behind me until early last month as well. As this chapter of my life comes to a close, I look forward to being able to spend time with my family, travel in that motorhome that I bought about 2.5 years ago and haven't had the chance to take out. Yeah, some of you have motorhomes, huh? Anyway, and spend time with our first grandchild, who was born just a few, 3 short months ago. While I'm saddened to be leaving the council, I do respect the democratic process that put me here and has now elected 2 new leaders for our community. I want to congratulate both Bob and Ed on their election to council and ask that you continue to revisit the message Mayor Fox so eloquently spoke for us today. And I want to continue with Mayor Fox's. For those of you who were not at the State of the City, he used a quote from, I guess, somebody who was one of his favorites, and that's Abraham Lincoln. And this quote is, "You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. I implore you to continue down the path this council has set and embrace the development of the downtown core with a modest number of housing units. I would also ask that you continue to work in harmony together, as this has proven to be not only produce positive outcomes, but it's what's best for all of us." In light of the tragedy at the borderline, I would ask that you continue to keep public safety as one of our number 1 priorities. The residents have been clear that this is an ongoing priority. And selfishly, I want to know that my son, I learned that from my good friend Jeff Dean. My son, who followed me in the law enforcement career, continues to have the training and equipment that is necessary to carry out the law enforcement function in today's changing world. But let there be no mistake about it. Janine and I are not going anywhere. Did I mention we have a new granddaughter who lives right here in Thousand Oaks? I'll continue to remain involved and do whatever I can to help move the city forward. So enough about me. Let's talk a little bit about Andy. First, as a resident, I want to thank you for the 24 years of dedicated service to this city. Not just service, but exceptional service. I've learned a great deal from your leadership and will use the lessons in whatever I go on to do next. I have enjoyed the friendship that has grown out of this service, and I know that Janine and I will continue to see you and your sister Jackie in social settings for years to come. You've demonstrated for all of us what it means to be a dedicated public servant. You've shared those attributes whenever possible and made us all better for it. You are so deserving of the recognitions that have been bestowed upon you today, not just here in these council chambers, but the honor bestowed upon you at California Lutheran University earlier this afternoon. Although I did say it made you look a little bit like Flavo Flav. My hope is that you will continue to provide guidance to the city leaders as they navigate through the realization of the plan that you worked so long and hard to create, and that is the Boulevard plan. Next up, Rob McCoy. Thank you, Rob, for your continued service to our community. You were placed on this council for a reason. And here's Jeff. And it became evident that fateful night when I watched you. Gosh, I'm not going to have enough of this. No, I got plenty here. When I watched you minister to those families and put your arms around them and comfort them in their darkest hour. That was truly tremendous. And just the other day, Saturday, and I've shared this with you as well, I thought that your message at the funeral for those 2 young men was just so powerful. It's beautiful. You were the right one at the right time to provide that support. I've watched you grow in your service, and I look forward to you being mayor and providing that leadership. So thank you, Rob. Now, Al. I'm going to go to Claudia first. No, I'll go back to Al. Al, it's been a wonderful about 5.5 years, I think, on the council with you. I've really enjoyed getting to know you. You have been the consummate professional. I see that, not unlike every other council meeting, you have pages of notes there, handwritten notes Yeah, you know, people say that I prepare. This man does 3 times the preparation with his notes there, and you see him over there scratching things off, making sure that every question that he has is answered. I personally would suggest you get maybe even a typewriter if you can find one, or a Wang. But yeah. But anyway, no, it's refreshing. You've been a strong advocate of the Boulevard plan. You've sat on the Boulevard Ad Hoc Committee, and I think that you two, you and Andy both, have really done a great service to the residents of the city by coming up with really what I think are well thought out ideas and plans to make what was a good plan even better. And I trust that you will continue to work toward that. I know you will. So it's not goodbye. It's just so long for now, at least until the 10th, when you can take some of my money. Now, Claudia. Hello. I miss sitting next to you because Claudia, I used to sit on this end, and Claudia sat next to me here, and it was my job to try. It wasn't really a job. It was kind of it was just something I enjoyed doing. I would try and get her to laugh during council meetings with little quippets, and much like Al mentioned a little while ago that the seat dedication, I was given H20. I think it's H2O, and he suggested that it was for wastewater. Anyway, Claudia, you have been the city's strongest advocate for environmental issues. I know that you will continue to do that. I have learned a great deal from you. I look forward to continuing our friendship, and I know that you will just continue to do a tremendous job. Many times, you have actually, through your hard work, efforts, have made good projects better. And I haven't always understood that was going to be the outcome, but it certainly was. And I can remember back to those days when the council didn't get along as well as they do now, and you're a lovely person. I've so much enjoyed the time we've spent together, and I look forward to remaining friends in the coming years. So thank you. That's all I got. No, I did have one other thing that I wanted to say, and that is that, and it was said earlier just a bit, but I can't let it go unsaid again. For those of you who have not been around our city staff, and I'm not talking about just the executive staff, but I'm talking about the people that work in the Public Works Department, the people that work in our libraries, the people that work in our finance department. These are some of the finest employees that any municipal government agency has. Rarely, very rarely, and I can count on one hand, the times that I have heard or seen complaints about any of our employees. And the reason for that is because they're dedicated professionals. They're dedicated to their jobs. And after the Borderline shooting and during the fires, these employees stepped up big time, and they were performing work that was far outside of their functions, far outside, with no complaint. So I need to acknowledge the employees here for their, this is weird, hard work and effort, but they're just fabulous people. One in particular that I'm going to call out because I worked probably closest with her, or closer with her than quite a few others, and that's Mina Leba. Mina is our public affairs manager, and she single-handedly somehow got me elected to the board of directors of National League of Cities. She had me as the chair of the Public Safety and Crime Prevention Committee after a few short years, and just tremendous hard work. Really, I don't think she's ever had a day off. She may not be here, but she's always available. And Mina, I love you. I thank you.
Do we need to take a bathroom break, or we? Joel, I think Mayor Fox wants to share some things.
So this is the time of the agenda for we just make some brief outgoing comments about our colleagues. And as I said earlier, this city was well served by Joel Price, and the legacy that he has left will not be soon forgotten. Joel is a true public servant, cares deeply about this community. He has worked tirelessly his entire time that he's been involved with the city. And again, I've had the honor of serving with a number of council members over the 24 years that I've been here, and I have not found anybody that has more commitment, more preparation, more dedication, more willing to make difficult votes, more willing to be responsive to constituent concerns, even when we get the nasty emails. Joel Price is everything a local elected official ought to be, and for that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude. Congratulations. We'll start down with you, Claudia, or without.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Well, Andy, you've been around a long time. Clinton was president when you got in. Pete Wilson was governor. I was still in high school.
No, you weren't.
No, he wasn't. It's been a long time. And it really, as it's been said tonight, a really life of service with the fire department, with the city council. You served your fellow men and women admirably. I remember we had a CPR demonstration here in the front of the dais here, and we all went over and did the CPR thing. And I turned to Andy, I said, "Have you ever performed CPR?" He says, I think he said hundreds of times. Hundreds of times. I mean, this man has saved people's lives over the last 35, 40 years. And so that was amazing to me. And when I came on the council, I didn't know what to expect. But the first call I got, Andy Fox. "Hey, Al, congratulations. You want to have lunch?" Or maybe it was breakfast, one of the two. And I was, yeah, great. I was very happy about that. We got off to a good start, and we developed a very close relationship, worked on a lot of committees together, got a lot done, and I'm really going to respect Andy and happy to call him my friend. And Joel, and Andy, a problem solver. Andy Fox is a problem solver, and he's a great leader because he makes everybody around him better. And, you know, just one other thing. I know you wanted to go out on top. You went out on top. You went out as mayor, and you got us through one of the most difficult times this city's ever faced, and you did it with great aplomb and great ability. And we all thank you for that, Andy.
Thank you.
And Joel, my friend, I think what I would say about you is you gave it your all. You gave it your all. You threw yourself into this job and gave everything you had, and you represented this city well. You did so many things for us, working with the Rams, working with the Special Olympics, especially representing us nationally. I mean, all that travel and everything, having to leave the city, but that was so important. And I don't know how we're gonna fill those shoes, but we'll have to try. Always prepared, a steady guy with a great sense of humor. Joel Price has been a real asset to this council, and I've been very happy to sit next to him these 6 years. And I'll miss your ugly Christmas sweater, but the problem was he thought it was nice looking, and I didn't. I said, "Well, that's a great ugly Christmas sweater." He says, "What do you mean?" It's just he thought it was a beautiful sweater. So hopefully we'll didn't mean to insult you there, but hopefully we'll get to see that again, Joel. I know you're going to be around. I'm going to stay in touch with you, and I'm looking for bigger and better things from Mr. Joel Price. Thank you.
Joel, one of my great joys, now obviously we operate under the Brown Act, and only 2 council members can talk about an item. You can't go to a third, and you want to pick wisdom when you're trying to understand a situation. The silver lining in you coming off the council is it's not a violation of the Brown Act to be able to come and glean wisdom from you now, and I'm grateful for that. When I saw you at the National Council of Cities, you were a rock star, and folks would come up to you and seek your counsel and your wisdom. And to think that you serve on this council, it made me proud to be a part of this council, to see how effective you are across the nation. And you do everything resplendently. You jump right in. You do your homework, as all of us have said and witnessed. I'm going to deeply miss you, but I'm so thankful to call you my friend, and I look forward to your wisdom and your counsel as we move ahead this year. So this isn't goodbye. This will see you later, and it's also just immense gratitude for you as a friend, and I'm grateful to call you that. Thank you, Joel. Bless you, man.
Joel, it was 6 years and 8 months ago, you said, when you were appointed to the Thousand Oaks City Council. And, you know, I didn't vote for appointment. But you know what? You have become the best council member that I have ever worked with. You really have, because I really enjoy working with all my colleagues, but you especially, you've really lived up to what it means to be a council member, and you have proven to everyone that, yes, you were appointed, but then you were elected. And you have, as Al said, thrown everything into this job that you had, everything in you. And you had someone at your side all these years, and that is Janine. Behind every strong man, there is an even stronger woman. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with you, getting to know you personally. We have not agreed on issues, but guess what? We have accepted each other's opinion.
I don't always agree with my wife either.
There you go. So I want you to know that it is not goodbye. It is, as Rob said, see you later. I am thankful for the 6 years and 8 months that I have had the opportunity to work with you, and gotten to see for myself that you are a quiet leader, very humble, and you're not out there to get credit. You just are not. You just do it because you love doing it. So thank you for caring so much about our community, and wish you best of luck. But I know I'll see you around. So thank you, Janine. And to Andy. Andy, you and I go way back, way back. I want to say once upon a time, there was no story of greater woe than that of the Tuesday Night Fights TV show. We have come a long way. We have come a very long way. And for us to be able to get along as well as we are now, and that also includes the entire council, we've had to be willing to open our minds and willing to make peace. And peace we made. I have learned a lot from you, Andy, over the many years, 16 years exactly. And I could not be more thankful for having known you and getting to know you, the human that you are. Really, the human that you are. Not necessarily the politician, but the person, the human that you are. Surrounded by a very loving family, Letitia, and your 8 children and many more grandchildren. It means a lot to me to be able to say that, to call you a friend. And I want the rest of the city to know that even though you can be having all of these fights, there is a way to get along. And that is very important to realize that. The fact that you were mayor during Thousand Oaks' darkest hours really cemented your legacy for the city of Thousand Oaks. You conducted yourself, you carried yourself with tremendous strength, courage, resilience. You were able to evoke that and to show that at the vigil that Thursday night. And to have also Rob as a mayor pro tem, you have become the healer. You were in charge of everything. You knew exactly what to do, when to do it. And it was just really fate that you were mayor this year. It really was. We couldn't have had a stronger mayor in you, Andy. So I will be forever grateful. And I know you will be around. And thank you. Thank you for being willing to become my friend.
So it's my opportunity to make a few comments, and I know it's been a long night, but we've had longer ones, so this is the last opportunity I'll be able to sit here and share some of my thoughts with you and my fellow citizens here in Thousand Oaks. So please bear with me, because I have a lot of people to say thank you to. As I sit here and look out at the audience, almost 25 years ago, my family sat in that front row. And my oldest son, Andrew, is sitting there. And Andrew's 26 in December, so you can imagine how old he was. He was a little bit older than Harper there, who's our grandchild. I think Harper's number 7 or 8. And so I was just sitting here reflecting. There's 2 seats that are not there. That's my mom and dad, who live just a stone's throw next door to the Civic Arts Plaza Thunderbird Mobile Home Park. And so anytime you've done something for 25 years, there's going to be people that were certainly in your family, certainly part of your life, that have gone to heaven, and they're no longer with us. I could spend all night talking about those people that are no longer with us. Alex Fiore, a number of people I served on the Planning Commission with, Otto Stoll, just many people who had a tremendous impact on this community. But as I reflected over the last couple of days about my tenure here, I do have to start with, before I got here, I had to run a campaign. And yes, I was on the Planning Commission, but I was a relatively unknown. Bob Lewis talked a little bit about it, but I've said it many times. If it had not been for Bob Lewis, Francis Prinz, Micah Gopian, and others who saw something in a 34-year-old fire captain, I certainly wouldn't be sitting here today. And so I will be forever grateful for my opportunity to serve this community for somebody that took a shot on somebody he didn't know, and that's Bob Lewis. Bob, thank you to you and Kathy and everybody for giving me this opportunity. Running for council is not an easy endeavor. You can't take it for granted. And as I mentioned, I was an unknown, had some time on the Planning Commission, but I was able to meet and now have lifelong friends as a result of that, who I know over the years, maybe there was a few votes or two that I might have disappointed them. But Joe Lederer, who was Chamber of the Board and at the time running a number of Domino's Pizzas, Jeff Alexander, who owned T.O. Corral, Dennis Gillette, who worked at Cal Lutheran, prior to that was city's police chief. Those 3 folks, individuals, and a lot of others, Bob and Sue, helped me become elected to the city council year after year after year, election after election after election. You can't take those things for granted. And so I just want to thank those who certainly in the early days were there volunteering and helping out, because, again, this isn't done just by one person. When I was elected, I had the good fortune of working with a gentleman who I believe is one of the top city managers in the history of our state. And he's here tonight. He's our city manager emeritus, Grant Brimhall. Grant was at the, yes. One of the things that I was able to do was when Grant was getting ready to retire was suggest to my colleagues that we name the library after Grant. And so and the reason we we could have named anything after Grant. He was our city manager for 20 years. But the library in particular was Grant's passion. If you ever want to listen to somebody talk about the importance of a library system to a community, Grant Brimhall's the guy. He is the consummate professional. And certainly, while I was one of his 5 bosses, I have to say that with almost a smile, because Grant really put me under his wing. I used to travel to Sacramento with Grant and spent a lot of time with him. And certainly in my early years on the council and the formation of my ability to deal with public policy, he was a tremendous mentor, taught me a tremendous amount, always did it in that Grant Brimhall-esque way. And I will be forever indebted to Grant for forming me. We also had a lot of other great city managers, Mary Jane Laz, and certainly our current city manager, Drew Powers. But I just want to take the opportunity to thank all the city staff. Again, I can't name them all. We'd be here all night. For the amount of work that they've done, for how they've assisted me over the years. I do want to call out one person in particular, because I was able to watch this person demonstrate the really, in many ways, a consummate sacrifice to her city. Many of you know our city attorney, Tracy, is a cancer survivor, and she went through the full regimen of cancer treatment. And I can count on one hand the actual days that she missed work. Tracy showed up with scarves on her head, with most of her hair missing, on television, and always brought her brilliant legal analysis, her brilliant team spirit. She's someone that cares deeply about this community, front and center during the EOC, during the emergencies. I always comment that Tracy is absolutely the smartest person in the room. She probably knows that. But we are very, very blessed to have somebody with such tremendous caring and a tremendous commitment to our community. And yes. City clerks get very close to electeds because they have a lot to do with what we do in terms of our filings and all our campaign reports and all those things. As I mentioned, I hope City Clerk Emeritus Nancy Dillon is still here. For many years, even after Nancy retired, I insisted that she would swear me in. I'm a little bit of somebody that likes to kind of keep things as they are. She was kind of my good luck charm. But we've had some great city clerks. After Cindy was Linda, and then, of course, we have the other Cindy now, Cindy Rodriguez, and she just does a great job for us. And all the city staff have really served our community well. And again, as Joel put it, from our executive staff right down to our last new hire, we've been very, very fortunate. And again, I'd just like you to show the city staff the great work that they do and show them your appreciation. So my family, it is a sacrifice to serve in the city council. It's gotten better over the years because when you've been around long enough, you know the things you need to do and some of the things you can not spend as much time in. But as I said at the State of the City lunch, Letitia and I are so blessed with our family. With our 8 children and 10 grandchildren, I am the luckiest guy on the planet. And we thank each other and bless each other every night for so many of God's blessings. And I'm able to serve on the city council for almost a quarter century. Most of my kids, some of them weren't even born when I was first elected. They weren't all able to be here tonight, but they all know, and people that know me best know that my family comes first. And I'm just such a blessed man. And so I love you very much, Letitia, and I love all of you. Finally, I want to thank the residents, those that aren't here tonight but might be watching on television, or maybe they're doing something a little more productive. Which, by the way, people ask me if I ever watch council meetings. I don't. I figure if you have to sit here through it, why would you want to put yourself through that kind of pain again? But I want to thank the residents of this community. They have been extremely kind to me over the past 25 years. As has been noted, while I seem to always do very well on election day, I never had to sweat out an election. My first 2 or 3 terms on this council were not easy. They were times of political infighting. They were times of a lot of unrest. And I did my best to navigate our community through that. And I think history will show that for the most part, I was on the right side of what was good for Thousand Oaks. But it was difficult. It was very, very difficult. And the residents, I could always count on to actually see through some of the smoke screens and some of the things that were going on to see what was really important for our community. It hasn't always been easy. There's been nights where it's been just this crowded with just this many people, and it was the Hatfields and the McCoys. It was divided, those against, those for. I've commented many years that that's really not the best process for a city council to make a decision. Somebody comes up, they put a card in, they talk for 3 minutes. I'm for, I'm against. Then we have some council discussion, and then we make a decision. And of course, those that we made the decision that they agreed with think we listened to every word they said, and they leave here with a big smile on their face. Those that we didn't vote in the way they want us to vote believe that we didn't hear a word they said. Nothing could be farther from the truth. But at the end of the day, 5 people have to do what they think is best for their community. And I just want to thank the residents for all that they've done, how kind they've been to me over the years, certainly on Election Day. And I've done my level best to represent all of you with character, with integrity, and in a manner that would make you proud, even though you may not have agreed with every vote I made. So thank you, City of Thousand Oaks. One last thing. When you retire, a lot of people tend to ask you, what are you going to do in retirement? It has been mentioned recently, I retired after 38 years with the fire department and 24 years here, counting the planning commission time, almost 30. And so I've been working 2 full-time jobs, if you will, for the better part of 35 years. And so I'm looking forward to retiring. As I leave, it's not bittersweet at all. I'm actually looking forward to a new chapter with Letitia and the kids and our grandkids. So people have asked, what are you going to do? And my standard answer is, I'll do wherever the good Lord leads me. But I hope it involves good health. I hope it involves travel, vacations with the family, family dinners, more grandchildren, more marriages, and spend time with all of you. So on behalf of my family, I just want to wish all of you a heartfelt thank you for how good you've treated me over the years. And may God bless all of you and your families in this holiday season. Thank you very much. Do we have any? You got to be kidding me. All right, Madam Clerk, item 6 is public comments.
This is a time and place for public comments. A speaker card is available for those wishing to address the City Council regarding items on the agenda or on a subject within the city's jurisdiction. 10 individuals have presented cards, and pursuant to council standards, speakers are allowed 3 minutes. The yellow light displays when you have 1 minute remaining.
Sarah Laufenberg, followed by Jim Bruno, followed by Rick Lemo. Sarah here? I know, Youth Commissioner. Okay. Jim Bruno. All right. Rick Lemo. After that will be Doug Nichols.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and City staff. First, when I look back over the last 34 days, it seems like most of our comments got written with what everybody faced. But two that just come back to me, someone who was affected but not directly affected as the poor folks at Borderline and any of the folks who suffered from the fire, is how proud I was of the class act that our council and that our city staff just exuded. I can't help but wonder, with respect to all of our council members, how much of that class act came directly from what we learned from Andy over the years. Class is a very difficult thing in life. But I've come to learn that it's a more difficult thing in politics. And we're seeing that today. The second thing that came, which was very strange for me, thought about it for a few days, still didn't understand it until tonight, was gratitude. Gratitude for living in this city versus any place else. Any place else. And again, I think that comes from our entire city council and staff. But just to give you a little quick history, I've been in the city now for 30 years. I've never dealt with a city council that didn't have Alex Fiore or Andy Fox on it. That's very special to somebody who moved here from Cleveland, where we invented the Tuesday night fight so bad that our mayor went bankrupt on ABC News, drove the city into bankruptcy on ABC News. And even through everything else, look at what we have now. A class act city council. I wasn't sure about Andy Fox, but not for the same reason as everybody else. I thought his judgment sucked because he was following Frank Sinatra on stage. And what I meant by that was Alex Fiore was the model. And for him to bless Andy, well, now we have to give him a chance. And Andy, you outperformed every expectation. I'm really very happy that you did what you did for our city. But frankly, I'm more happy that I became your friend as well. We've had some talks where we didn't talk about politics at all. And you're one of the wisest men I know. So, Andy, thank you very, very much. Lastly, I want to thank Joel. And Joel, I want to stay brief. So I want to read something that you saw because I was able to send it to you the morning following the election. And it's really the way that I think and have heard many people feel about you. I wrote you that I wanted to let you know I was thinking about you this morning. And I trust you'll remember that in politics, the better man cannot always win. Those of us who know you feel honored that we do. And frankly, we feel privileged that we know you. Sometimes political games can change fate. But you can never lose the respect those of us lucky enough to know you and respect you have for you here in Thousand Oaks. You're both leaving our city council, and I don't mean to be negative, but you're going to leave a hole. That's life, that's the way that it is. My hope and my wish is that that hole could be filled by many people who strive to live up to your example. And I know that we've got some folks in the pipeline that are going to do just that. I think, Rob McCoy, congratulations on hopefully here becoming the mayor very soon. You've already been through some of the mayor's stuff by fire, and I was going to say he was baptized by fire, but considering his line of work, I'm going to stay away from that. And I want to also give my best wishes, particularly to Bob Engler, because there's a lot of pressure on Bob. Because the same way Alex recommended you, you called me this summer and recommended Bob. And I think you did a great job. So thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you, Rick. Doug Nichols, followed by Judy Lazar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, the council. I have no paper, I have no wood, I have no glass, I don't even have a mug, but I do have appreciation. First, I just want to express my appreciation to the entire council. The decorum that you express on a weekly basis here is admirable. And while we have various entities, agencies, and organizations that serve our community, the pulse starts and stops with this body right here. And the way that our community interacts and reacts is a reflection of what happens here. So I appreciate the example that you've displayed, particularly in the intervening days that we've just experienced. And in particular to our outgoing city council members, Joel, I want to express my appreciation to you for your service. As I've had the opportunity to come watch the city council either in anticipation of a case that was coming to Planning Commission or one that we had addressed and wanted to see how it was resolved. Always appreciate your insights, your comments, and how you explained, what your position was. And I understand that that's kind of the way you are. You just kind of lay it all out there, nothing held back, always transparent. Very much appreciate that. Andy, likewise, I appreciate the way that you've demonstrated the leadership and again, kind of the summation is what was expressed before on how you kind of pull everything together. But also I want to thank you for I don't know if you remember, but appointing me back to the Tree and Landscape Commission years ago, back in the 90s, I think it was. Kind of gave me a flavor for what it was like to serve in a commission in that capacity. Not a whole lot of community input in that meeting. May have been one or two people that attended those, but it just gave me a feel for what it was like to serve the community in that regard and kind of whet my appetite a little bit. So thank you for that, and best of luck in the retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Former Mayor and Council Member Judy Lazar.
So, Andy, so many years. I'm here just to say one brief thing today. For years, decades really, I have been fortunate to have worked with many of you on the City Council and many who preceded you. For years, I have said that there were two great leaders in this city, Alex Fiore and Grant Brimhall. They made the city what it is. But you really have to add Andy Fox to that list, because Andy has picked up the mantle and continued it, and the city is what it is because we've had the leadership that these three individuals have provided over the years. I think all of the citizens of Thousand Oaks are truly grateful. I certainly am. Thank you.
I think Judy felt obligated to say that. We go to the same church. Former Mayor and Council Member Bob Wilson. And after Bob will be Stephanie Wilson. Good evening, sir.
Been a few years since I've been here, but some familiar faces. A couple of things that I wanted to say is, one with Joel, that people don't know. We can talk about what people do in your life. Joel worked on the Thousand Oaks Police Charitable Foundation with me, and my brother was a captain on the police department who passed away. Joel and I weren't actually friends. We just served on the same committee. Joel took the time out of his life to come to my brother's funeral, and my family will always remember that. Thank you, Joel. Andy, it's been a long time ago that I was served with you and Claudia. And Claudia especially, congratulations, but it warmed my heart to hear your comments tonight. That was appreciated. And I can go on for another 3 minutes, but if we look in this city of the things that we have, Andy's stamp is on it. Everywhere you go, whether it's the shopping center with Nordstrom's, Andy was part of it. The golf course, Andy was part of it. All of our schools benefited from council recognition of what they needed. We gave them new tracks, new bleachers for all of the schools in Thousand Oaks. So everything and every place you go, you'll see Andy's print on it. And Andy, it was a pleasure. Not necessarily a pleasure, but it was interesting for the couple of years that I served with Claudia and you. And you're right, there was 200 people here, but they were all yelling at us. So, and last comment, you could have voted for me. Andy, congratulations. Hope you and your family will well.
Thank you, Bob. Stephanie Wilson, followed by Sharon McMahon.
Mayor Fox, members of the City Council, hardworking staff, and E-Team. I'm Stephanie Wilson, Deputy Director of the New West Symphony, but tonight I'm not here about the symphony. I will be back. I'm here as a member of the Cultural Affairs Commission. I'm just finished my 19th year as a council-appointed member of a commission or board. And the arts are extremely important to me. And Andy, the story about the dollar for the golf has reminded me of the story I've told before about you. In 1997, when my son was 3 years old, the theaters were 3 years old, my conservatory was 3 years old, and you were 3 years old as a council member. You gathered together a bunch of us crazy artists and arts organizations to listen to us about the Community Events Endowment Fund, which is a very important fund that supports arts and cultural events and other kinds of events in the city. And you had the foresight to understand that if we did not strengthen the arts here in Thousand Oaks, we wouldn't have the people, the struggling groups that were performing here. But we also had to raise our vision and look out at the city and understand that if we didn't support and help the arts organizations and the schools and the students out in our community, we wouldn't have patrons for tomorrow or artists to perform here for tomorrow. And what you did in that meeting was, seems small, but it was not. It changed the way the arts were funded out of that fund slightly. I've been working on that fund for a long time, and the change really didn't matter. I mean, it mattered to the arts, but it didn't hurt anything. It supported the arts and funded the arts, and it kept us all going. And it's still going today. It's still, the fund is always going to be there, hopefully. But the way it's being funded has consistently been strong for the arts. And so from those of us that have been boots on the ground of the arts here, we all know what that's like. So our city council and our city is extremely supportive of the arts. But Mayor Fox, you were huge in supporting the arts and always have been. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephanie.
And I'll make it brief because... Oh, and one other thing. I'm really sorry, but I'm a Buckeye. So break a leg next week, as we say in theater. Thank you.
Sharon McMahon, followed by Joan Edwards.
Hi, I will be brief. First of all, I want to thank all of you on the council for your service to our city. Joel, it was a pleasure working with you on the Traffic Commission. Your move to the City Council was a benefit to all the citizens in the community. We have all benefited from your practicality and your professional experience, and I wish you the best in all your future endeavors. Andy, I want to publicly thank you for the work you have done for the city of Thousand Oaks. Endless hours, countless meetings, enormous energy with the goal to keep our community safe, our open space protected, and our city fiscally secure. You have governed with your head and with your heart, and we have all benefited. You have set our city on a course that will ensure quality of life for the next generations to come. And on a personal note, I want to thank you for the opportunities you have given me to serve Thousand Oaks. It has been a pleasure watching you and learning from you. And I wish the best for you and your family, both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon. Joan Edwards, followed by Chase Rashid. And then our last speaker will be Matthew Globke. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Fox. I'm Joan Edwards, and I'm only going to say a couple things. First, thank you so much, Joel Price, for bringing the Special Olympics to our community. That meant so much to me and a lot of other people, too. And I want to say how much I've enjoyed living in such a beautiful, beautiful city. So thank you for recently passing the Sustainable 100% Energy law. I think that's going to mean a lot to us, that we can all just opt into 100% sustainable energy. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for keeping the separation of church and state. I appreciate you all for doing that. And lastly, according to the Boulevard is being worked on and will be worked on, please remember to respect the oak trees that were planted probably 50 years ago along the Boulevard. They're old trees. A lot of them are older than we are. And please do what you can to meander the sidewalks around them. Give them some space. As I walk down the Boulevard, I see that they're just squeezed into their little piece of earth. Thank you.
Chase Rashid, and our last speaker would be Matt Globke. I think Chase wins the contest for the sharpest looking sport coat tonight.
Thank you. Chase Rashid, City of Thousand Oaks. I have to say some things about the outgoing council members. Councilmember Price, what you did with the Special Olympics and the Rams, that was amazing. You know, being on the council only 6 years. I mean, some people in office can't accomplish that much in 10 years, so it's not easy to make things happen. So thank you for making that happen. And Mayor Fox, when there was the issue with the tree ordinance and now that with Owner Planet and naturally growing and all that, you, in the meeting, you pretty much solved that problem. You were writing the notes and you came up with the solution and the council voted on it and you fixed that. And that was very inspirational to me because I've gone on to serve on the Citizens Transportation Advisory Committee. And just to be able to see leadership in action, that's helped me know how to navigate that committee. You know, not much happens on that committee. We don't get public speakers. Nobody comes in there, so nobody really yells at us. But we do have to be well-versed in transit and what is best for the residents. And I've learned that I had a small victory with some funding. And the City of Thousand Oaks, a project did not make it on the list because of a very small scoring difference. And I said, well, that's a very small scoring difference. Can we please at least get us moved to the shelf list? And along with another member from Thousand Oaks, I was able to get that done. So thank you for being an inspiration. And to both of you and your families, please enjoy your retirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Chase. We have one, no final speaker. Oh, yeah, one final speaker. Go ahead, Matthew.
Hello, so I'm Matthew Globke, and I was up here earlier with the Youth Commission expressing our gratitude towards Councilmember Price. And right now I'm up here to show our gratitude towards Mayor Fox. So first of all, I would like to say thank you on behalf of our entire Youth Commission and give you congratulations on your retirement. Your hard work in helping make Thousand Oaks such a great city for its residents has not gone unnoticed by us. It is pretty amazing that you've actually served on the council for 24 years and have been the second longest serving council member in the history of Thousand Oaks. I think that it is incredibly evident through your service on the council and beyond that you care deeply for our community and everybody in it. As somebody who represents our city's youth, you are a role model to all of us and an incredible example of true commitment to public service. Your last term faced some unanticipated and extremely unfortunate events, but you led our resilient community with strength and guidance. Thousand Oaks is a strong and united city that has truly come together after tragedy because of you. We have been proud to call you our leader. Again, we would just like to thank you for your relentless dedication as a member of the community, and we wish you well in whatever is to come next. And we look forward to serving with the next city council in the upcoming term, and I'd like to wish you guys a happy holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Last time I'm going to say this, that concludes our public comments for this evening. We'll now move to item 7. That's the November 6, 2018 general election results, and our city clerk, Ms. Rodriguez.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before you is a resolution declaring the results of the general municipal election held on November 6, 2018. The county clerk has certified the canvass of votes cast for 3 council member seats, as well as the votes for Measure P, the cannabis business tax ordinance. Staff's recommendation this evening is to adopt the resolution certifying the election of Claudia Bill de la Pena, Bob Engler, and Ed Jones for 4-year terms, and the passage of Measure P, and to adopt the ordinance relating to the cannabis business tax. That concludes my presentation, and staff is available for questions.
All right, questions for Ms. Rodriguez? All right, hearing none, we need a motion to approve the ordinance.
I'll move.
Ms. Bill de la Pena moves. Any discussion? Hearing none, prepare the vote, please. Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are no objections. And what am I going to say, Mr. Adam? That is approved. Exactly.
The motion passes 5-0, and I do have an ordinance title to read into the record, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Thousand Oaks, adding Chapter 3-21, Cannabis Business Tax, to Title 3 of the Thousand Oaks Municipal Code, and that's ordinance number 1657 NS.
All right. That moves us to item 8. That's where the city clerk will administer the oath of the re-elected and elected council members. Will the city clerk please administer the oath of office to our re-elected and elected council members? I'd like to have Mr. Councilmember-elect Bob Engler and Councilmember-elect Ed Jones come down to the podium, along with Councilmember Bill de la Pena.
Ready? Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties you're about to enter as a Thousand Oaks City Council member? So at this time, I'm going to ask each of the newly elected council members to sign their oath of office. At this time, I would like to present each of you with your framed certificate of election, and the first one goes to Claudia Bill de la Pena. And the next one to Edwin A. Jones. Robert J. Engler. Congratulations.
Follow me. Take your seats.
Dr. Ron and Dante and Luca, you guys had some flowers you wanted to give to Claudia. There we go. Claudia, you got another surprise coming here.
We just wanted to say hello and to extend our gratitude as well. This is my son, Dante and Luca. Give this to Mom. We're in a unique position here because where did Andy wander off to? We've
Retirement.
seen Andy so many nights over and over again, and we came to Thousand Oaks in 1995, and in 1998 Claudia served on the Planning Commission, so it's 20 years that Claudia has been coming down to City Hall, and she just was elected to her 5th term. So longevity runs in our town, and there's no truer leader than Andy to show the way, and we're so fortunate that they've been able to establish this harmony, and also to our good friend Joel, that he was a stalwart member of our community. And to a packed auditorium, I also want to extend appreciation to the City Council, to Andy, to Claudia, to Rob, Al, and Ed, and Bob for what will be coming as our new council. So many members of the community have come up to me to say thank you, and it is looking forward that we will have more of the same. So moving forward, we thank you and appreciate all that you do for our city. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Ron. Bob, Ed, welcome. Now we go to item 9 on our agenda. It's time for the council reorganization. Will the city clerk please open nominations?
Nominations are in order and open for the office of mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem McCoy, I'd like to make a nomination, please.
Okay.
And that's you. No, seriously, it is definitely my honor and my privilege to nominate Rob McCoy, our current Mayor Pro Tem, as mayor of the city of Thousand Oaks.
Thank you, Al. Yeah, we got to vote. We have to vote. So I've been nominated. Are there any further nominations? All right.
Hearing no other nominations, nominations are closed. Mayor Pro Tem McCoy has been nominated to serve mayor until December 2019, and at this time I will conduct a roll call vote. Councilmember Jones?
Aye.
Councilmember Adam?
Yes.
Councilmember Bill de la Pena?
Yes.
Councilmember Engler?
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy?
Sure. Yeah.
That nomination passes 5-0.
There we go.
Nominations for the office of Mayor Pro Tem are now open. Are there any nominations?
Yes, I nominate Al Adam as Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilmember Adam has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? I declare the nominations closed. Councilmember Adam has been nominated to serve Mayor Pro Tem until December 2019. And I will go ahead and take a roll call vote. Councilmember Jones?
Aye.
Councilmember Adam? Yes. Councilmember Bill De La Pena? Councilmember Engler?
Yes.
Mayor McCoy?
Yes.
That motion carries 5-0.
We've had a lot of comments tonight. Al, you've been mayor. I haven't. I am now. You're Mayor Pro Tem. This is the time where people give remarks. Let's keep them short. Folks are tired. I just want to say this, that this has been a tough year. I went to visit a friend in the hospital who is not doing well. And it reminded me of visiting my mom in the hospital, and she just had surgery, and she was contemplating whether or not she'd made a mistake having had the surgery, which would ultimately take her life. And I said, you know, there's grace in the economy of God. And you don't look back, you look forward. And my mom embraced that, went through it with all her heart. And I say that to a community that's hurting. We're not going to forget what's behind, but we are going to strive for what's ahead. And we're going to do it with all our heart. And the city's going to pick up the pieces. And it's an honor to be your mayor, following some big footsteps. And I'll do the best I can. But I'm surrounded by some pretty amazing people, including the 130-plus thousand citizens of the city of Thousand Oaks who are remarkable. So God bless you all, and thank you.
You go. Okay.
You're up.
All right, I'm up. Rob, it's going to be great having you as mayor. Really looking forward to it. I'm your deputy mayor, I guess you could say. If you need me for anything, I'm here for you. All right? I'm going to support you.
I know you will.
I'm going to do it, and you're going to have a great year. Bob Engler, welcome to the Thousand Oaks City Council. I tell you, if you're as good a council member as the campaign you just run,
that's right.
You're going to be one heck of a council member. You are a hard worker, been involved in the community for many, many years, and I'm really looking forward to working with you, Bob. It's going to be great. Ed, welcome to the Thousand Oaks City Council. Thanks. You are an experienced man, and you bring a lot to this council, a lot of credibility, a great resume. I'm looking forward to learning from your experience, and I'm looking forward to great things from you, Ed. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Al.
Claudia, glad you're here too. Very glad. You are a wonderful council member. You really are. You're the voice that we need. You're unafraid to speak your mind and to vote your conscience. That's a good quality. And your voice is much needed on this council. You're my friend, and I'm happy you're back. And I'm looking forward to serving at least 2 more years with you, and maybe more. We'll see. Thank you, everyone.
Well, I would like to thank the residents of the city of Thousand Oaks who have voted for me again. This is indeed my 5th term, believe it or not. And I've really enjoyed, and it's been a privilege to serve you these last 16 years. I very much look forward to continuing the work that we have started here on this council. And I would like to welcome to the City Council Ed Jones, as well as Bob Engler. Congratulations to the 2 of you. And congratulations, Rob, on being selected mayor. and Al on being selected Mayor Pro Tem. Again, it's been an honor and a true privilege to represent you these last 16 years, and I will continue to represent you with the utmost integrity on this dais and in many other issues and matters. So I really appreciate that. Also want to thank my family. Again, my children were born while I was sitting here on the council. Well, not literally here. I mean...
It was quite a night.
Pregnant. I was pregnant with them. And I was pregnant with them, and they were born while I was in office. And it's amazing. They're now 13 years old, in 8th grade, and they keep me very, very busy. So, Ron, love you. Meine zwei Schätzchen, ihr zwei, hört mir bitte zu. Seid brav, ich hab euch lieb. Okay. Thank you so much.
Bob.
Mayor, thank you very much. For those of you who can't see behind the desk here, there's a couple of pair of very, very large shoes back here that we're going to try to fill. And my hat's off to both Joel and Andy for the work that you have done over the years. And I can only hope to approximate what you have done. So thank you for your service. One other thing that occurred at our election, and I want to put my hat off to all the people of Thousand Oaks. We had 76% of our people vote in that election, an off-year election. Almost 77%. That's the type of people who live in Thousand Oaks, and that's the type of people I'm honored to represent. I hope I can live up to your trust. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Ed, you want to share?
Yeah, it's just been wonderful here tonight. It's very nostalgic for me. Although when I was on the council, we met at 1429 Thousand Oaks Boulevard. The whole building would have fit into this room, and it was much smaller then, obviously. It's just, I can't tell you how appreciative I am of all the people that voted for me and all the people who worked on the campaign. The paper kept reminding me of my age. It would say, Ed Jones, 88, did this. Ed Jones, 88, did that. Ed, you know, my kids thought 88 was my middle name. But seriously, I'd like to recognize my wife, Joanne, and 3 of our 8 children are here, and 1 of our grandchildren is here. So I'd like to thank them all for coming. Is Carrie here? Oh. 4. Okay. So we got half of the children here, and it's just wonderful. All the people that helped on the campaign. I really thank them so much, and I felt. I know Bob walked a lot. I walked. I don't know if Claudia did much of that, but I really had a very warm feeling from walking this time. I felt a lot of appreciation. I went out. Is Linda Mason here? Well, Linda Mason and I went out and put up signs one afternoon. She had taught for years over on Kimber. What is the school? The Maple. She had taught for Maple. And so we went around putting up signs, and we went to all the places I knew, and we were putting up signs. And then she had taught there so long that we went to a door, and she would say, well, you know, so-and-so lives here. Went up to the door, yeah, oh, okay, we'll put up a sign. I mean, it was just a marvelous day. In fact, a gentleman ran out of his garage who'd been working on his car just to shake hands and say I could put up a sign. But I think the one that topped it all was I was over on Chelan and Artillo where I'd had a sign, and I went to the door, and the son was kind of hesitant, so I started to walk away, and I got about 2 doors down the street, and all of a sudden this woman is running down the sidewalk. And I thought, what now, you know? And she came up and gave me a big hug and said, I want to sign. Oh, boy, that made my day, I'll tell you. But I really appreciate it. I'll do my best to do a good job. I'm the new guy on the block here, so I'm going to do a lot of listening and learning. Thanks,
Ed. That's it. I think it's time for adjournment. All in favor, say aye. Please join us for the reception in the lobby. Our next council meeting is scheduled for 6 p.m. on December 18th, 2018. Thank you and good night.